NFT.
NFTs.
To do an NFT.
NFT.
The thing about NFTs is...
But I got this NFT.
NFTs will change the music industry forever.
What the fuck is a NFT?
I've been working in the crypto NFT space for about a year. I helped launch an NFT called the Shrimp Society. I work for a crypto company called Upstream now, and I've just been like in the space. But I really do think they have an opportunity to impact the music industry, but nobody's really doing it well. What an NFT is, it's a verifiable digital asset. So I can own a picture of a monkey, and if I connect it to my Twitter as my profile picture, somebody can check within 2 seconds whether I'm lying or not. And that info can't be changed, it can't be fake. And in addition to people being able to just tell that it's real, you can then track the person who owns the NFT and send them additional stuff down the road. So for Bored Apes, for example, somebody could screenshot a monkey and say it's theirs. But one, I'm gonna be able to call them out right away. Two, Bored Ape holders were just airdropped like $100,000 worth of ape coin, like their version of like a token or like a crypto stock. $100,000 per owner. And so yeah, you might screenshot the photo and say that it's yours, but you're not receiving that utility, those benefits. So that leads me to some of the models and how people are using NFTs. I see 4 or 5 tiers here. You got your Rec League player, you got your G League player, you got your NBA player, and you have your All-Star, and then you have your GOAT tier of how to use NFTs. Rec League player, this is ass, the worst possible model, especially for an independent artist. I think this is what Tory Lanez did. And you don't list the song anywhere on Spotify or anywhere. The only way to listen to the song is by buying the NFT. This is trash. Pay to listen died when the MP3 was invented, and streaming is just too popular, and I really don't see things going back. But Kanye made millions of dollars off of his STEM player. Yes, you're not fucking Kanye. That only works if you've already built up a really solid, loyal fan base who trust that your shit is gonna be fire and is willing to pay a fuck ton of money for that because you built up that trust over such a long time. If you're an independent artist, the amount of people who will want to pay to listen to a song that they've never heard of yours, that's just not gonna work if you're a small artist. Whitney Houston dropped a 1 of 1, her team, I think she's dead. Her team dropped a 1 of 1 NFT for some old unreleased track that nobody had ever heard. That is fine because she's an icon already, she has such a solid fan base, and so people are willing to do that. If you're an independent artist, you need people to hear your shit. You can't be adding barriers of entry to that. So, leads us to tier number 2. This is the G League player, right? Now you're getting somewhere, now you understand the game a little bit. And that's where you list the NFT on Spotify or like whatever streaming platforms, and you sell the NFT just as ownership. Just giving people the chance to say they own this digital version of the song. You might think, what the fuck, this is way worse than the exclusive model from tier 1. But it's not. It's better for you and it's better for the fan. Because you can still grow the song, other people can hear it. And let me give you an example. Everybody has that annoying friend who says they were listening to Mozart before they were famous, and you're probably that person for somebody. For me, that person is Jack Harlow, where I'm like, yo, I knew him before he was big. You don't benefit from that at all as a fan. If anything, it harms you because people get annoyed by you saying that shit. But let's say me in high school, Jack Harlow dropped like a limited edition NFT with like an old album like Gazebo. Now that he's become like a big player, the price of that NFT has gone up. Now I actually have financial incentive for having good taste and for like making that prediction early and for being an early supporter. And if I wanted to sell that now, I could make a profit. The core of it will always be emotional resonance. What this just does is it aligns the incentives, right? Your biggest fans become promoters, which they already are. And so you might still be not convinced. Why would you buy it if it's on Spotify? 1, for that appreciation aspect, but 2, it's just a collectible. A couple years ago, a Beatles White Album vinyl tape sold for like $800,000, I think. And sure, you can play a vinyl, but I doubt that that guy ever does it. And if he does, not a lot. Like that probably just sits framed in a shelf somewhere in his living room. And then 2, the aspect I just talked about, where if you really believe in an artist, your incentives are aligned to support early and to like actually support the person. And that reward can come either from the price appreciating as the person gets more popular, or 2, introducing good utility. And this is where we get into the NBA tier. This is where you list the track on Spotify, sell the NFT, but in addition to people just owning the song, you give some extra utility. But some cool options that I've seen are front row tickets to future shows, access to FaceTime once a month with you, special edition vinyls or merch, access to future NFT launches, etc. And I think Gary Vee with VeeFriends is probably the gold standard for this. He has a ton of unique and valuable pieces of utility that he offers owners for his NFT collection, as much of a meme as he is. Alright, so now this brings us into the all-star tier. And that is royalties. This is by far my favorite model. I think the most fleshed out platform for this is called Royal. You can do this either at launch, or you can even do this before you drop the track as a way to crowdfund investment for an album or for a song. But you could sell an NFT, and in exchange for that, you give a portion of your future royalties to those NFT holders, right? So you could say, I want to give 50% of my royalties to my fans and sell 50 NFTs for the song, and each NFT counts as 1% in royalties. This gives your fans passive income just for supporting you. And like, if you're a fan, you could potentially build a career, a passive income flow just from having good taste and being able to find people early. So they're gonna want to support, they're gonna share your shit on their story, like they're gonna do whatever they can, or at least more than they're currently doing to support you. And this is super big because right now, if you think about the reason why so many artists get fucked over in the music industry, I feel like this is becoming more common knowledge now. So a record label will sign you and they'll give you an advance for your first album, which is usually a big check. And so people are like, fuck, I've made it. I'm gonna bring everybody out trenches. I just got this $1 million advance, like we're balling. But that is a loan. If you get like that $1 million advance, most of the time, once you start selling your albums, you will not make $1 until the record label makes and takes their first initial cut, their $1 million. And then once they get paid back for that, then you'll start making a cut. But it's a super low cut. You got the lawyers involved, the managers, the fucking marketing team, blah, blah, blah. And so right now, like the majority stakeholder are these big record labels. And a lot of artists get put into this really awkward situation and end up getting fucked over because maybe their freshman album doesn't do as well as they'd hoped. They can't pay back that advance. Now they have no leverage in their next deal, so they have to take a shitty deal, or they're just in debt. Really awful situation. NFTs give the opportunity for, instead of that initial investment to come from some record label, it can come from your fan. Let's say you've been dropping, mixtapes and songs for a while. You've built up like a pretty solid fan base of core supporters who are like, yo, this guy can sing. Instead of going to a record label and getting fucked over by them, you could crowdfund an NFT launch, have your 1,000 biggest, truest supporters to buy in for like $100 in exchange for a percentage of royalties from your debut album. And then 1, you don't have this super predatory record label that's gonna fuck you over. 2, you've built up like an investment that you can use to take into your first album. And then 3, all of those people are gonna be aligned and incentivized to support you once that album drops. And they'll be making passive income. I feel like I've been harping on this. I'm kind of repeating myself, but like royalties, I think that is that's big. All right. Level 5, this is GOAT tier. And it's GOAT tier because I don't think anybody's figured it out yet. I don't even know what this is gonna look like. But my thoughts here come from a conversation I had with some VC who had been in NFTs for a couple years, in crypto for a long time. And I asked him about how he saw NFTs playing into the music and film industry. He brought up a really interesting point. He talked about Bored Ape Yacht Club. And the reason why they're the biggest NFT project right now is because they were the first, if not the first to do it, the first to popularize giving Bored Ape holders full commercial rights. So for example, I know people who own Bored Apes who are licensing the IP rights to companies to use for advertisements. I know Universal Record signed a couple of Bored Apes onto a record deal just to use the IP of the apes. I know Club 11 here in Miami bought a Bored Ape to use for advertising for their shit. A month ago, Yuga Lab bought the NFT project CryptoPunks, which is the OG NFT project. It's been here since 2017. They blew a 4-year lead to Bored Apes in terms of being the biggest project, and then Bored Apes bought them. There's a reason why the very first thing they did the day they announced that they bought it is they gave all CryptoPunk owners full commercial right. And for an example of why this is big, I went to Ape Fest in New York last summer, which I was a +1 of somebody who owned a Bored Apes, and I went on like this big extravagant yacht party. I was hanging with all these rich ass crypto friends, and this was during NFT NYC, so there are other events. And while they were there, everyone was promoting their own ape. So there's one guy, Jenkins the Valet, who's used his Twitter name to build up like this comic series. He writes books now. There are people just trying to like grow their Twitter who are just handing out stickers with photos of their apes and their Twitter handle underneath. Everybody was promoting their own personal brand, but the face of their personal brand was their ape. So they have this one big overlying brand, Bored Ape Yacht Club. Then they incentivized 15,000 people to promote their own brand. And every time Jenkins the Valet promotes his book launch or some guy promotes his Twitter handle, all of that value is accruing back to the original project. And that's why it's so big. They're able to make this one brand, these 15,000 sub-brands of people who are super loyally supporting it. Sure, they want the original Bored Apes project to get big, but more so, they're worried about their personal brand, and Bored Apes is just a stepping stone for that. But my point is, whoever can figure out that model for music or film that incentivizes all these sub-brands to promote things that come back to the original IP holder, I think that'll be big. A couple of thoughts of like small ways to do it are, for people who buy the NFT, you could give them the stem files so that they can use it to sample stuff or remix it as long as they credit you. You could do a remix with somebody who buys the NFT. You could potentially give out commercial rights to people who own them to like use in their films, or if they're throwing events or commercials or whatever. I feel like there's more to be done, like some really creative ways to do that for like film and music, but I don't know yet. I haven't figured it out. Those are the tiers. To wrap up real quick of some core principles. In NFT world, community is everything. If you don't remember anything else, remember that. You need to be forming deep relationships with your fans so that they're not just like listeners, but fans. That comes in a lot of ways. If you do sell NFTs, you better fucking invest money into giving stuff back. I think the goal should be people who buy your NFT should receive more value than the initial amount that they paid. That's how your price will go up. That's how your NFT's value will go up. That's super big. For building a community, all NFT stuff right now is on Discord or Twitter. Start following NFT artists, musicians, like influencers in the space, reply to their shit, ask questions, join Twitter spaces, join Discords and ask stupid questions. I had a friend I was talking to about music NFTs. I was like, yo, you should join Discord, talk to people, start to build up some of these relationships. And she's like, oh yeah, I'll do that next week, but like I need to research stuff this week. No, absolutely the wrong mind frame. Do not do that. The Discord and like talking to people is the learning. That is the thing that's gonna get you to understand the space. Sure, read up a little bit so that you understand the mechanics. Ask stupid questions. People are super down to help. Just like go in, be the idiot in Discord for a couple days. Trust me, it's worth it. Last core principle, this is like note to self, is baby steps. I think Virgil Abloh had some quote along the lines of like, not everything can be your magnum opus. I have a ton of ideas. I want to direct a feature film one day that is tied into an in-person art experience and fashion that goes along with it. All these things. I'm not there yet. First, I need to write a script for a short film and then maybe direct that. And then maybe like direct a slightly bigger project with a bigger budget. And then maybe I drop an NFT art project. It just grows, it compounds. It can be overwhelming because there's so much stuff you could do. Start somewhere and then build on top of it and learn through doing that. Anyways, that's my preaching to myself. Hopefully this helped you learn. I think there's a lot more depth that can be gone into with music NFTs, but this is just like some of my initial thoughts, where the space is at, where I see some of the gaps. Oh fuck. Okay, I gotta go. Peace.